Friends, I think you are all law students, isn't it? From law college, naturally law students. You must be knowing what is the purpose of any enactment, any law. The main aim of any law, particularly this, for instance, this right to information. What is the use of having information, and why make it a right itself? What is the essentiality of making it a right to information? What is the underlying idea? I'm told that your senior students are also there. So, for any law, you must be looking for its objectives, its motives, its intentions, its purpose, its aims and objectives. What are they? What is behind this law?
And we say the main objective of the Act is to maintain accountability and transparency with the public officials.
What are you going to get by maintaining public accountability and transparency?
So that there is, the governance and the authorities, the activities done by them are known to the public.
So what, by knowing them, what are you going to achieve?
So we will know, what exactly our government is doing for us.
Yeah, by knowing it exactly what is government. Yes, you know that, yes, we are doing this, we are constructing a bridge, we are laying a pipeline, you are laying a railway line. What, by knowing that, what is that? It is there obvious. Something more. By holding them accountable, by making them transparent, what is that we are going to achieve? What is it aimed at? Why we should make the government authorities accountable? Why we should demand transparency in their activities? No? Is it so difficult to imagine? To check corruption. If there is no accountability, there will be corruption. If there is no transparency, there will be corruption. If there is accountability, means including timelines. You say, look, this job has to be done in 1 month. That is 30 calendar days to be precise. Or say 30 working days, much more precise. And this work has to be displayed. All the documents concerning this job have to be displayed. Say, the cost of the bridge, total estimated cost of the bridge is so many crores. Then in that case, what is the breakup of that expenditure? RCC, this much, labor charges, this much, so many days of work, so many employees, so many workers, so many officers, their wages, their salaries, and the equipment cost. Like that, the transparency of the expenditure, income and expense. That the income is the estimated budget and the expenditure. So thereby, what happened, if you still want to check whether there is any kind of gotala, scandal, you can go with an experts in the field, domain experts, and check the sample of the cement used or the mixture used or the steel, whether the gauge steel is as per the prescribed norms, all these things. So the main objective of making the public authorities, that is government officials, accountable to the public on what is this all estimated budget cost or amount, all these things, it is public money. And according to Constitution, the people are what the Constitution described the people as, and the officials as anyone. Who are the people according to the Constitution? They are the sovereign masters. even otherwise also, being the taxpayers, the people are the taxpayers, and the taxpayers are the masters. The public officials are the servants. Public servants, that is the term how it came. Their servants paid and put up there to render service to the people. So the people are sovereign masters, paymasters, and the servants who receive the pay, and who, for the pay they receive, they have to render service. But unfortunately, this concept, it remains on paper, though prescribed by the Constitution in very high-sounding terms, it is never put into practice. And for that, I quote Mr. Sailesh Gandhi, our doyen of RTI Act. मेरा भारत महान नहीं है, मेरा भारत महान नहीं है, पर लेकिन ये दोष मेरा ही है, ये दोष मेरा ही है, क्योंकि मैं मुंह बंद करके बैठा, मैं आंख बंद करके बैठा, मैं कान बंद करके बैठा, मैं कभी पूछा नहीं मेरा सर्वेंट को, मैं कभी सुना नहीं मेरा सर्वेंट क्या बोल रहा है, मेरा कभी देखा नहीं, मैं कभी देखा नहीं है मेरा सर्वेंट क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या नहीं कर रहा है। तो वो जो मर्जी करके चला गया, जो मर्जी बोल के चला गया. So that the responsibility the Constitution has entrusted to the people has never been put into practice. So friends, it's altogether one thing to have a law. It is altogether a different thing to see it enforced, to see it in the field. That's why the RTI preamble. So for any law to know its purpose, its objective, you have to go to the preamble. So the RTI Act 2005 also has got a preamble. What does it say? The democracy requires an informed citizen. Democracy requires informed citizenry. What is this information? What is it about? How the citizenry can be informed? And the transparency of information, free flow of information, which are vital to its functioning, that is democratic function, and also to contain corruption, maintain. Why? Why vital to functioning? By what is it going to achieve? To contain corruption. If not eradicate, at least let us say it will contain of this act, as we have already discussed, is to contain corruption. Of course, as Priyanka has already prefaced, it is very difficult to fight corruption. Next to impossible. But at least we can contain corruption by making use of our sovereign right to demand for information, to demand for accountability, to demand for transparency. So that's why, so far it is there in the constitutional, fundamental rights is there in the Constitution of India. I mean, the right to information, you may be knowing, embedded in the right to freedom of speech and expression, Article 19(1). What is the freedom of speech? The freedom to inquire, the freedom to question, the freedom to demand. Mera paisa, mera hissa. That is what the principle, the foundation principle for RTI Act to take birth in Rajasthan in a movement led by Aruna Roy, the former IAS officer, who fought for the rights of the Rega workers, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Act workers. You may be knowing Rega. Where in this villages, lot of 100 days in a year, they have to be given work for the ideal youth or able-bodied youth, anybody, so as to keep them active and as well as to keep them employed, to keep them their livelihood. At least 100 days in a year, they have to be. So there in Rajasthan, prior to 2005, much before, there are no accounts book kept, there are no registers kept, there are no receipts maintained, nothing else. How many workers participated in a MNREGA scheme, in a MNREGA program, in a MNREGA project, and how many were paid, how much wages each one of them was paid, nothing, nobody accounts, no details. And nobody asked also. Because my बाप सरकार सरकार को कौन पूछे, इतना हिम्मत है तुमको सरकार को पूछने की. So this kind of attitude was prevalent. And down the line, they have swallowed the funds and people stopped. So slowly the snowballed this crisis, and Aruna Roy took it up and launched a campaign for keeping open the account books, registers, etc. And slowly they started this thing there, and then the slogan came up: "Mera paisa, mera hissa." Actually, this MNREGA is coming from central government direct fund to district collectorates to organize this thing and distribute. So, where from the central government sends this amount? From out of public tax money. It is as simple as that. So the my tax money is recycled back into my pocket. And for that, you are asking me to render service to you, work for you. Yes, I did. So naturally, I must get my wages because you are getting your salary for the work for maintaining the accounts. So suppose it to be, you are getting the pay. So similarly, for the work I do under MNREGA scheme, I have to be paid, but you are not paying. So that's where it slowly snowballed into RTI concept. And then prior to that, also in 2002, Mr. Ribeiro of our PCGT, along with Mr. Anna Hazare, held a hunger strike in Azad Maidan, demanding the same, more or less on the same lines, much before Aruna Roy. So Maharashtra government was the first state government to enact RTI Act in 2002 itself. But of course, it did not have teeth like the present 2005 Act. It had penal provisions, it was not there. There were no penal provisions in 2002 Anna Hazare Act. So when this 2005 Act came into force, that was repealed, 2002 Act, and this of course came to be the main act. Now, and whereas the revelation of information in actual practice is likely to conflict with other public interests, including efficient operations of the governments, optimum use of limited fiscal resources, and the preservation of confidentiality of sensitive information. That is where, again, we refer back to Constitution of India, which says, well, fundamental rights are inviolable. That is, cannot be violated, cannot be dismissed, cannot be ignored, but subject to reasonable restrictions. Friends, you may be aware of, no right is absolute under any law. All rights are, even fundamental rights, are subject to reasonable restrictions. Same is the case with these RTI provisions also. Balehi, this may be very much a part of your fundamental right, but there are certain matters which are sensitive. That's what I'm saying. Confidential and sensitive. From the viewpoint of national security, which cannot be shared with all the citizens, much less on need to know basis only. If at all they have to be shared on need to know basis. On need to know basis, who including our Prime Minister. After all, Prime Minister is also basically a citizen of India. So this RTI Section 3, this act is applicable to all the citizens of India, irrespective of caste, color, creed, age, gender. So basically, Prime Minister being a citizen of India, but subsequently being an elected representative of the country, plus being the Prime Minister of the country, the topmost executive dignitary, functionary of the country. He also on the need to know basis only, he must be seeing the files. Just for the heck of it, every day he doesn't have to see. So then it is necessary to harmonize these conflicting interests. So whom to be shown, to how much extent, all these things have to be balanced, keeping in view the paramountcy of the democratic ideal. What is the paramountcy of the democratic ideal? That is what you have been telling in the beginning itself: accountability and transparency. That is because informed citizenry, if you have to keep the citizenry informed always, you have to balance the democratic ideals, that is accountability and transparency, and the need to know basis. Well, now comes to what is information? What can be called information under the provisions of the RTI Act? According to the RTI Act, what should be called, what can be termed as information? All records, official records, mind you, all records, official records, documents, memos, emails, opinions, advices, press releases, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, tenders and all those contracts, reports, papers, samples, models, etc., all those things. See, anything that becomes the official document, anything that is written and kept in the form of an official document is information. Anything that is not on record in the government office or in the custody of a public authority cannot be called information. So just for an example, quick example. One 6-year-old girl filed an RT application long back before Home Ministry, Union Home Ministry, asking to tell her, provide her, furnish her the information on the query that who gave Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi the title of Mahatma. How Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi got the title Mahatma? She filed an article long back. So what was the reply of the Home Ministry? Sorry, there was no record. There was no record with regard to this information, this query. And we do not know who called Mahatma Gandhi and who conferred the title as such. Whether was it any title conferred on him by anybody, we do not know. We have no information on record with regard to this. So they have regretted. Yes, it was not a title, official title, conferred on him. Like nowadays, the government confers the Padma Shri titles, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Bharat Ratna, all these things, or Arjun, what is that? Military honors. This kind of official title, I think late Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore or somebody acclaimed Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi as Mahatma. He just casually called him spontaneously. It occurred to him such a spirit. What all he did was beyond human comprehension and beyond human capabilities. That is why he must be called a Mahatma. He is not simple Atma. He is a Mahatma, great soul. That's how he coined the phrase then and there, coined the word then and there, and he called him out. That's how I think it came into prominence. Then thereafter it became current. So anything you ask, yes, you under RTI you can ask, you can write, you have the right to ask. But if only if it is on record, official record, the government authorities can share that official record with you. Say, then again, as I told you, reasonable restrictions. If it is in the interest of the national security and integrity, or if it comes in conflict with our country's relations, foreign relations with a foreign country, or defense matters, strategic matters, no, they cannot be shared. They will simply quote the section, the full section is there, and in the RTI Act, Section 8, which forbids certain categories of information to be shared to the citizens. That will come, we will deal with it later on. That's why it says that first of all, the information you asked for must exist on record. If there is no record, then no information. That is what we have already told. Then who is a public authority? Under Section 2H of the RTI Act, who can be called a public authority is defined. Public authority means any authority or body or institution of self-government established or constituted. That means all government offices, when they write down below, government of Maharashtra, government of Karnataka, government of Tamil Nadu, that means it's a body of government, right? So it must have a declaration that it is a government body. They will affix the logo of the government, the title of the government, the name of the government, and then it becomes the public body. And how? Not just by name, not just by board, by constituted, established or constituted by or under the constitution, number one. Say for instance, PMO is established and constituted by under the constitution to facilitate the Prime Minister's functioning, Prime Minister's office separately created. So likewise, each ministry by any other law made by Parliament, separate act also, say Central Election Commission, CEC. This is the law, there is an act, People's Representation Act. There shall be an election commission to supervise and to hold periodically elections to the bicameral legislature, that is Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and to supervise the elections. That is what how it came into existence. By any other law made by state legislature, similarly as for the Parliament, as for the Union government, for the state legislature. So all state legislation, all state offices, government offices are created by the state government, either by an act enacted by the state legislature or by an executive order. They can also create the bodies. And another thing, by notification issued or order made by appropriate government. This is very important for you, the college students. Your, for instance, with regard to your college student, college matters, I can give you an example. Deemed universities, for instance, our Narsi Monji University is a deemed university. How it became a deemed university, and then why all the deemed universities are to be treated as public bodies? Why? Because they are deemed to the extent that to the notification issued by or order made by appropriate government, either the state government or by the central government. You can see the order that so-and-so Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies or legal studies, etc., whatever it may be, is treated to be as a deemed university under this notification. Why this notification? As per this notification. So this was the order issued by ruling given by Shailesh Gandhi when he was Information Commissioner with the Central Information Commission under this section 2H. Since the Narasimhan, there was an issue whether Narasimhan Institute can be called a deemed university. I mean, whether if deemed university, it is called as deemed university. It is called deemed university. So whether deemed universities should be treated as a public authority. That was the somebody filed second appeal before, and it came up before Shailesh Gandhi, and he ruled yes, it is public authority because it was termed as deemed university. Wide notification, Government of India notification dated so much. Central notification. We filed second appeal also before CIC recently in 2018 or 17. Again, because they obtained a stay from your Karnataka High Court, and the public authority clause, they prevented it from applying to them. They still remain unaccountable under RTA. They refuse to come under the ambit of the RTA because of the Karnataka High Court stay. And who has to vacate, who has to get the stay vacated by the CIC? Because the Karnataka stay, High Court stay, is against the CIC's order. So CIC should have gone in appeal to High Court and got it vacated. But when we went in appeal, second appeal, before the CIC, and CIC said no, it need not act against its own orders. They ruled. Very funny thing. I checked up with Mr. Gandhi also. Mr. Gandhi also said, "Oh, Rao, I am also helpless," he said. So these are some unresolved questions with regard to this section 2H of the RTI Act. With the result, what happened? There is a dent to the application and effectiveness of the RTI Act. What is this public authority? Not only established and constituted as per this constitution, parliament, the state legislature, or by notification by any government, and includes any body owned and controlled and substantially financed, but also and also. Anybody owned, controlled, or substantially financed. Non-government organization substantially financed, directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. Friends, how many of you remember? Can you give me one example wherein in the recent past, government had vehemently denied that a body owned and controlled and not only this thing, but also substantially financed by the very same, what is the name of that body which the government of late has been resisting to agree that it is a body owned, controlled, and substantially financed also as per its name, as its name suggests. But government has been hell-bent on denying it.
PMK Fund?
Exactly. Very right. Who is that? Who said that?
Suprita.
Bhumika? Huh?
Suprita.
Oh, yeah, very good. PMO. PM Cares Fund is being managed by and run by who? PMO. And what is PMO? Prime Minister's Office. As per the Constitution is concerned, Prime Minister is a public servant. Prime Minister is paid salary. Prime Minister is paid allowances. Out of where? Out of public funds. And what is CMO? His own office. to facilitate him smooth function. He has got a host of officials, top ranking officials, right up to the pew, the fourth category. All their salaries are paid out of public funds, not out of PM XYZ pockets. Yet the government took a stand that it is not a public body, but it is a private body. Okay, PM Cares Fund. Okay, I know, I agree. PM Cares Fund is different. PMO is different. Fine. But where from the PM Cares Fund is being managed, maintained, and run? It is not from PM Narendra Modi's residence, or it is not from the residence of some other minister or some XYZ. It is being run, maintained, whose accounts are being maintained, whose registers are being maintained, documents are being prepared or filed in the PMO. And PMO, for all practical purposes, a body owned, controlled, and substantially financed by public government, constituted and established by government order. So anything done by PMO has to be public activity and has to be open, has to be under this RTI. How can it be a private body suddenly? If it is a private body, let it be called Narendra Modi Cares Fund. Why it is called PM Cares Fund? We don't have any questions if it is labeled as Narendra Modi or Vajpayee Cares Fund or somebody Cares Fund, individual's name. So friends, so this is where I think we'll be discussing, we'll be facing, we'll be coming across. You
Sir,
being law students, you must have a clear-cut vision. Today itself, you have to decide whether
Sir,
you
I have a
want to
question.
stand by the constitution, whether you want to stand by the law, or whether you have just just study the law only for certificate course, or only to earn a few more bucks. To earn few more bucks, you can do any other thing. No need to study law. But if you study law, you have to stand by law throughout. That is what the commitment the law requires. Yes, somebody else wants to say something or ask something.
Sir, actually, this PM Cares Fund,
Private
was
body.
it was
Registered,
started by
private trust.
Jawaharlal Nehru under the name of PMNRF, Prime Minister National Relief Fund.
Yeah.
And he actually named that PMNRF in that he named that Congress, Indian National Congress, as the president who governs that thing.
Okay.
So it has been continued from then onwards, and now for BJP has started, this ruling party has started PM Cares Fund. Actually, there is no clear transparency in that, how money comes and how money goes. So they don't give a transparency. Even with RTA, they don't show it.
No, that is what I think we have been discussing. Okay, let it be private trust. Yes, they are.
And there are a lot of scams and issues, and people people have been in PMNRF. There have been questioning that it is indirectly controlled to Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Even during Manmohan Singh, he was Dr. Manmohan Singh was the prime minister.
Friend, just a minute. The issue is PM Cares Fund. Okay. Now the government side argument is also good. They said they have registered it as a private trust. So how private trust can be a public authority? That's the point. Okay, fine. But where from the private trust? Where is the private trust address? Say, for instance, PCGT is a private trust, right? Where is its address? Is its address in Mantralaya? Or is its address in Delhi North Block or South Block? Government official premises? It is there in a private premises. We are paying rent to the building where it is housed. And we are not getting a single rupee from any government, state government or central government. So that is the characteristics of a private trust, which doesn't receive a single penny from government, but at the same time doing public service and free of cost. Whatever we do, we are doing it out of donations collected from the public. Now, coming to transparency. Every year we get our trust funds, donations audited, and balance sheet is published. No need to ask anybody. It is open, published every year, religiously, truthfully. We don't wait for somebody to come and ask us or to make a phone call or write a letter. Come on, how many funds you have received this year? Yes, you come and see. Every year, religiously, sincerely audited and published. And it is being run from a private premises. True to be called a private trust. But here is a case, a private trust being run from a public premises by public authorities. So friends, no comparison between this PMK Fund and some Jawaharlal Nehru or Sanjay Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi trusts. If it is there, then let there be a question. Let there be an issue. Why there is no issue? Why there is no litigation? Why nobody filed any writ petition or SLP or PIL on PMNRF? CMNRF is also there. Every state CMs also have floated the CM's relief fund, disaster relief fund. Some CMs have opened up and some CMs are still hiding. Same in Yada Raja Kada Praja. Okay. Non-government organizations substantially financed directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. Here comes, sometimes some colleges receive grant in aid. Some private colleges receive some grant in aid by the governments. So to the extent the amount they receive in the shape of grant in aid, those colleges, even though they are called private colleges, they are subject to RTI provisions. They have to provide the accountability and transparency with regard to the expenditure incurred by them, and the balance amount, if any, remains out of the grant in aid. So that is how the in case of any non-government organization, say for instance PCGT, no question of receiving any government money. So therefore, the question of grant in aid also doesn't arise. But still, we tend to be objective, we tend to be accountable, and we tend to be transparent on our own. But wherein the part paid by the government, they have to be accountable and transparent. That is what it says. Right to information, section 2Z. Already 1 hour coming to a close. So, right to information, section 2Z. Here, this section 2Z, right to information. Not only you can ask for documents. Supposing if the information you want to seek, you want to have, is voluminous, then it may cost you also, because under RTI Act, every page costs 2 rupees Xerox charges. So if the applicant is ready to pay 2 rupees per page, he can get any number of pages. So sometimes what happens, the PAOs try to threaten the applicants by quoting number of pages more and more. So the amount payable exceeds even 1,000 rupees. That will be difficult for the applicant to pay. So what the applicant has to do, he must ask for inspection of work, inspection of documents, records. And then he will be allowed to take notes, extracts, or certified copies of documents or records. Then he can take certified samples of material also. If there is any material, say I told you in the beginning, construction material, he can take samples. Then obtaining information in the form of diskettes, floppies, tapes, videos, cassettes, or in any other electronic mode, or through printouts where such information is stored in a computer or in any other device. Friends, so there is actually, according to section 1, if you read, 120 days from the date of enactment of this act, all the public authorities in the country have been given time to update their records. How many days time? 120 days, that is roughly 4 months. From October 2005 onwards, that November, December, January, February, next year, 2006. By February 2006, all the public authorities are directed or supposed or expected to have updated their records, all the records, that the records of information that is to be disclosed, that is to be disseminated, that is to be distributed, that is to be displayed in public domain, kept ready. Forget about 120 days, 120 weeks lapsed, 120 months also lapsed. 120 months means for how many? 10 years. 2005 to 2015. 10 years lapsed. Now another 10 years also going to lapse. Still, there are some, most of the departments, still they say, ये record complete नहीं है, ये record नहीं मिल रहा है, ये record misplaced है. This information is not available on record. That information is not available in office. Like that, they have been coming up with lame excuses. It is tolerated. It is tolerated. Because again, the very same framers, the very same lawmakers themselves are not accountable. Themselves are not transparent. In 2005, the act came into existence. Well, 2006, there was an RTA application filed by one gentleman, Subhash Agarwal or somebody, before all the 6 nationally recognized political parties, main political parties, recognized by the Central Election Commission by a notification. What are they? INC, Indian National Congress, BJP, NCP, Nationalist Congress Party. Then both the communist parties, CPI and CPM. How many? 3 plus 2, 5. Another one, BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party. So all the 6 political parties, nationally recognized, they are enjoying constitutional status. They are enjoying free land on which they have built palatial houses, palatial buildings, their office premises, headquarters, party headquarters. They are enjoying free water and electricity, charges, no charges. And also they are exempted from paying stamp duty and registration fee because they are nationally recognized political parties. They have got a wonderful role of creating awareness and democratic awareness in the country. They are pillars of all blah blah. So what was the RT application filed before each one of them? Please disclose your party donations, amounts, and the expenditure. Please produce an audited statement of your donations received and expenditure incurred. None of them, I repeat, none of them replied even till date, even after Supreme Court reprimanded them. CIC ruled twice. Yes, my dear friends, you are enjoying the government largesse, that is public benefits, public advantage, public largesse, that is free land in prime area like Delhi, in all the state capitals, which normally costs a fortune for any common citizen to buy. And that land you got cheap. You not only cheap, you got free. And during elections, you enjoy TV time, government TV time, which otherwise would have earned crores of rupees by way of ad revenue, advertisement revenue. So many benefits you are enjoying as per the section 2H. Substantially financed, in other words, it means substantial, you are being substantially financed by public funds. Yet they refuse to come under the ambit of the RTI. So here is a chronic example of lawmakers flouting the law abiding. Lawmakers flouting or lawmakers becoming law breakers. Glaring example. So then of all the important sections, here, this way you can ask for, please permit me to come and inspect the so-and-so record. And then the PO will have to send you a reply within 15 days that yes, you can come on such and such date. For first 1 hour is free, and for every second later on every hour, you will be charged 5 rupees or 10 rupees or whatever. And for every page you want a Xerox copy, you will be charged 2 rupees. That's all. So friends, that provision is also there, inspection provision. You have the right to inspect the public documents. With section 3, as I have already told you, subject to the provisions of this act, all citizens shall have the right to information. With respect to of caste, creed, color, you will have the right to information. Then section 4, heart of the RTI Act. This is the heart of the RTI Act. You can call it backbone of the RTI Act. The key to the RTI Act, the sheet anchor of the RTI Act, the summum bonum, the chief good of the RTI Act. In this section, broadly speaking, I can summarize it and convey it to you. It's all about proactive disclosures. It's all about the law's mandate to the public authorities to disclose, to display, to disseminate, to reveal, to publicize, to open up, to show, to give away. So it is emphasis on proactive disclosure to the public authorities. In the process, how, that's what I'm saying. Within 120 days, every public authority should have updated his record. What all the information that has not been placed on the record must be placed on the record. What all the disclosable information as mandated by the law, he should have made it ready. And thereafter, this act also is said every public authority shall maintain all its records duly catalogued, indexed, file. That means placing it in the file. Numbered the pages, they have to number the pages, how many pages in each file. And in each page, what does the matter it contains? Also in the index sheet, they have to mention. Say for instance, from 1 to 10 in a particular file, pages 1 to 10 contain all the information about some particular project, some particular scheme. Say for instance, PMK Fund. All the information about PMK Fund in pages from 1 to 10. This file contains. Like that, they have to catalog, index in the manner which facilitates the right information under this act, easily retrievable. Now, the electronic means have come and placed at the disposal of the public authorities. So they have to display easily. They have to digitize their files. They don't have to grope in the dark. अरे ये फाइल कहाँ है, ये पेज कहाँ है, ये इंफॉर्मेशन कहाँ है, कौन सा फाइल में मिलेगा करके they don't have to break their heads. They don't have to waste their time. Simply digitize, keep it stored in your laptop. And with a click of a mouse, you must be able to retrieve. Go to the search column, search bar, and click it, type it, that information, and then it will retrieve and it will give it to you. Right? So the right to information under this act and ensure that all records are appropriate to be computerized. Yes, computerized, digitized, computerized within a reasonable time and subject to availability of resources, computerized, connected through a network, that is a LAN or WAN, all over the country on different systems, so that access to such records is facilitated. That is retrieval. Recovery of the information is easy. Then section 4, suo motu disclosures. Proactive disclosure, suo motu disclosure. Prime Minister, this Mr. Honorable Prime Minister, our present Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, himself declared in his capacity as PM, in his capacity as in charge of the DOPT, that is Department of Personnel and Training, the nodal authority for all over the country in the implementation of the RTI Act. On the eve of one of the RTI anniversaries, that is after he assumed the office of the Prime Ministership, somewhere in 2015 or 16, on behalf of PCGT, I also went there. I also attended that meet. He announced, he declared, my dear friends, please note, he said in the convention of the information commissioners from all over India, hosted by Central Information Commission. Every year they do this ritual. So on that eve, he mentioned, my government, what did he say? My government should work in such a way that no citizen of this country should feel the need to file RTI application. What he meant was, my government should work in so transparently and so accountably, that no citizen should feel the need to file an RTI application to seek any information. That means it should be suo motu available at his doorstep. But later on, Prime Minister forgot to appoint the information commissioners in the vacant posts. And he also forgot to appoint the Chief Information Commissioner of the Central Information Commission for 1.5 years, full 1.5 years after the vacancy arose, till Supreme Court reprimanded the government. So this much, this is the gap between the precept and the practice of our politicians, of our political leaders, is very disappointing, is very discouraging. That's why I say it is one thing to have a law. The very same 6 national level political parties, recognized political parties, tom-tommed, including this BJP at the time when this act was passed in 2005, they were in opposition. So they also joined the same bandwagon of Congress and the Communist parties and the other parties. Said, oh yeah, we have given you the RTI for your benefit. We have brought forth the transparency and accountability in the governance. Come on, we have done such a great thing. So naturally, to garner the votes from the people, gullible public, that they have done it. So BJP also did not lag behind. Yes, we were also there. We were also party to the enactment of this act. But for our joining you, our supporting you, otherwise you would not have passed the bill. The bill would have never gone out of Rajya Sabha, because their Rajya Sabha we were holding the field. Like that, they also boasted. But sir, having claimed that the credit of passing the law, that is RTI Act, for yourselves, what happened to you when you were asked to follow the same act, your own act? You disclose the party funds. What happened to you? You said no. RTI accountability and transparency is not for us, for you, not for us. We don't come under the RTI. But you say that you have yourself passed it. Yeah, passed it for you, not for us. So this is the most arrogant style and most adamant style of behavior of our political parties. Irresponsible, height of irresponsibility. Then nobody to be exempted. Nobody is an exception. Please note that, friends. Please correct me if I am wrong. So, friends, this suo motu disclosures is not one thing. Simply, that's what I think. You juxtapose Prime Minister's statement with the narrative of the RTA Act is so crystal clear that the public should not feel any inconvenience or any want that they do not know this, that they do not have that. No. Except that subject to reasonable restrictions, every information should be easily available without asking for it. That is the quintessence of Section 4. Then every office to have PIO. Government office, any government, see, it's just like that. Even before a government office is set up, they must come with a PIO, designated PIO, automatically. It's not that PIO takes birth after the office takes birth. No. PIO first takes birth, then office takes birth. It's as simple as that. That is what the spirit of the law. Letter of the law may be different, but spirit of the law is like this. So, according to Section 5(1), every public authority, that is every government office, shall within 100 days of the enactment of this act. Oh, not the creation of the office. 100 days of the enactment of this, that is October 12, 2005. From that day, you calculate 100 days. That is hardly 3 months. Every office so far till then established must have designated the junior most officer as the PIO. By now, of course, we have not come across any office without PIO, because they know if the head of the department says, oh, sorry, we don't have PIO, so therefore we don't accept RTI application, means that means it is enough, he can go home. This such serious view will be taken, and he will lose his job. So far, so good. But it's not that just because you have a PIO that you will get information. No. Again, the mischievous intentions of the public authorities are not easy to comprehend unless we come across, unless we face and struggle a lot by the RTA processes subsequently, first appeal, second appeal, and even Supreme Court. People have to go to Supreme Court. Shailesh Gandhi himself had to go to Supreme Court many times against the orders of the unreasonable, undemocratic, anti-democratic orders of the appellate authorities. So, friends, Balehi, the act says, law says something, and our politicians implement something else. You see, for any law, political will is essential, is the chief ingredient. If the law doesn't have a political will, then it cannot be enforced in full. It cannot be implemented in full. Why to talk of RTI, my dear friends? Are you sure that your traffic laws are implemented in full, in total? Traffic laws. Come on, please, get yourself. Check yourself. How many times you may come across, how many people, particularly with political connections, flouting, openly flouting, blatantly flouting the traffic laws. How the traffic police are reduced to a bunch of jokers right in the broad daylight. When it comes to the violations by the politicians or politically connected influential people, how they are let off, how others are, for the same offense, how others are harassed. So why to talk of RTI? It is too distant a dream. But right in front, every day we see how the bloody traffic laws are flouted, violated with impunity. So in this country, it is one thing to have a law on statute. It is one thing, altogether a different cup of tea to see it enforced. Even courts also, what High Court gives is annulled by Supreme Court, and what Supreme Court ruled is annulled by government, not implemented. Take the case of police reforms. In 2006, Supreme Court has laid down 7 guidelines, speaking orders, 7 guidelines for the implementation of police reforms throughout the country by each state government. In 2006, now it is 15 years over. Only last month only we had a lot of seminars, webinars by various senior police officers, retired police officers, including Mr. Rebeiro, including Prakash Singh, the main petitioner in the 2006 case, Union of India versus Prakash Singh on police reforms. So, and every state government after state government flouted in spirit and letter and spirit the Supreme Court orders. None, not a single state government, except with some exceptions to the credit of state government of Kerala. No other state government followed the Supreme Court directives in truth. And Prakash Singh moved the Supreme Court under contempt of court petition also against this thing, but Supreme Court did not take up. This is another thing. What to do? Where to go? So, friends, what Mr. Sailesh Gandhi regrets, laments is, Bale you may be having RTI Act, you may be having so many RTS also. I think in Karnataka also you got RTS Act, Right to Services Act. But gentlemen, you know the percentage of RTI applications filed in this country, or say for RTI, number of RTI applicants in this country? Do you have any rough idea? No. You never think of on those lines, because what is there for us? Why should we bother? Let Sailesh Gandhi take care of it. Let PCGT take care of it. Let Reviro take care of it. Let Rao take care of it. Why should I bother? So 1%. It is 1% of the populace of this country only files RTI applications. For the last so many years, the percentage has not gone up. It's like Olympic medal. We have got 130 crore people, but how many Olympic medals will we get? hardly 10. Not even one for say 1 crore people. So like this RTI application also is like an Olympic medal. It is hardly 1% of the populace files the RTI application, and then thereafter, how many of them will go up to second appeal, will pursue? No. अरे बाबा कौन यार कौन डालेगा अरे जान दो बस so no, you try to know the value of that fellow, the price of that fellow, and then you will pay it, bribe, and get the thing done. कौन भाई इसके पीछे भागेगा पागल थोड़ी. Then according to section 6, there is another facility given to the public authorities. Mind you, supposing if you file an RTI application before a wrong PIO, that means the subject matter of your RTI application doesn't pertain to him, doesn't relate to him. He is not dealing with that subject. But still, by mistake, you are something like that, you, because of a lack of knowledge, you file RTI application before a public authority. Fine. So what he will have to do within 5 days from the date of receipt of your RTI application, he has to transfer it to another PIO, that is concerned PIO, because he is a government servant. So he must be knowing who is the PIO, concerned PIO dealing with, and where does he sit to that place, he has to transfer. In any case, not later than 5 days from the day he receives. That PIO will have to reply to you in the next 30 days, including these, excluding these 5 days lost by the first PIO. He will have his own stipulated period of 30 days. So in total, from the date you filed, within 35-40 days, you must receive a reply from the any reply PIO concerned. So that is what section 6.3 broadly envisages. Then section 5.4 once again is there. Of course, there are some assistant public information officers also are designated in bigger offices where the volume of work may be more. See, it's a kind of contradictory. Supreme Court also unfortunately delivered judgments in conflicting way. A kind of anti in the not in the spirit of the RTI, not to the advantage of the public, in favor of the public authorities. What is that? Supreme Court also hurried, in haste, I think they commented, the workload, that RTI workload should not be disproportionate to the workload of a public authority. It is contradictory because the act itself specified and mentioned in unmistakable terms that all the public authorities must spruce up, must update their records within 120 days from the date of enactment. They have not done. For that, Supreme Court is silent. Supreme Court did not haul up any public authority. Why you have not done? Why you have not followed? Nobody filed any case against any of the public authorities. But when people have started becoming aware, when people have started taking interest in filing the RTI application, when people started looking for it, information, and that is not available freely, then there is no alternative but to file RTI application. Then naturally the volume of work for the public authority increases because he has not done his homework. So thereby he has to, that arrears, it got into arrears, his own homework. So naturally he started feeling inconvenient and his work schedule upset because the work as per the RTI, it is time bound. Within 30 days he has to reply. So everybody, every day, some 10 RTI applications. So naturally, every day he has to answer 10. If he has got the information digitized, computerized, then readily he will dispose of. Why 10, 100 he can dispose of easily in 100 minutes. But that is not the case. He has to work out manually. So friends, unfortunate that Supreme Court also commented against the spirit of the law in this case. So I think we don't accept Mr. Gandhi and prominent other RTI activists. They said no, we have to go and appeal before the Supreme Court, SLP or some other matter, some other way, and convince the Supreme Court to withdraw their comments. So that's, I think, we will do it later on. Then RTI appeal and procedure and fee structure. Now fee structure. Every state has got its own method of fee payment. Say in Maharashtra, an RTI application fee is paid by way of court fee stamp. It is called court fee stamp. It looks like a postage stamp, but not available in any post office. It is available with any court vendors, court stamp vendors. You know, documents, document writers, documents, court documents. So those vendors only can sell these court fee stamp, because this court fee stamp is a state property. So the revenue earned out of its sale goes direct to the state government. But that is when you file an RTI application before the state government public authority. Okay, so this is the RTI fee in the state of Maharashtra when an RTI application is supposed to be filed before a state government authority. But while in Maharashtra or anywhere else, if you want to file an RTI application before a central government public authority, court fee stamp is not valid. They have very simple method of IPO, Indian Postal Order, is available only in post offices. It looks like a bank draft. 10 rupees without any surcharge, without any extra charge, no commission. On par, they will give you 10 rupees worth of this thing. You have to attach that IPO along with your RTI application, Xerox it, sign it, and take it to any head post office and hand out to them by a RTI application ले लो, government, central government के लिए. They will have to accept and they will have to carry it as their postal document, and they will have to give you receipt also. And after delivery, they will also acknowledge separately that your letter, RTI letter, has been delivered to the addressee concerned, free of postage. But in the case of state government, because postal department is not state government, under state government, it is under central government, you have to send it by post, by registered post, preserving your postal receipt along with your RTI application after affixing the court fee stamp. In Maharashtra, I am talking. In Karnataka, I do not know. Anybody can tell what is the mode of fee payment in Karnataka? RTI fee payment? By bank draft or IPO or what? No idea?
Online payment you can do it, sir.
Yes, nowadays online methods have come. Many departments have been made available online. That is easier. Okay, no need of this rigmarole going physically. But there are some departments at district level which are not available online. For that, you have to take recourse to by post. So at that time, this fee payment comes. What is the mode of fee payment? Yeah. Okay. So information should be received on annexed within 30 days. The first RTI application, every PIO will have to reply to you within 30 days from the date of your application. Then after receiving the reply from the PIO, you will have 30 days time for what? For filing the first appeal. In case if you are not satisfied with the reply given by the PIO, or sometimes the PIO doesn't at all reply. In that case, if when the 30 days period, you don't receive any PO's reply, or subsequently also, you can file first appeal straight away. Reply not received by PO, not received from PO. On the 35th day itself, you can file first appeal. So like that, the timelines are prescribed. 7, disposal of requests. That's again same 30 days and in the case of first appeal, the first appeal authority will have 45 days time to dispose of your first appeal. What does he do? The moment you file the first appeal, he will call the PAO and ask him why you have not replied, or say why your reply is not satisfactory. Please show me what you have replied. All those things he will go through papers. Then in the first 30 days time, he will have to call you for a hearing. He will have to hear you and as well the PAO also. Sorry. You will have to hear both of you, PAO as well as the appellant. Then in the next 15 days, that is 30 plus 15, in the next 15 days, he has to dictate his decision, either upholding the PAO or upholding the appellant, and directing the PAO to provide the whatever the information, complete information or correct information, as the complaint may be. That communication should reach you within 45 days from the date you file the first appeal. Thereafter, you will have 90 days time to consider the first appeal at authority's communication. Whether first appellate authority sided with you or favored you with complete information by directing the PAO to furnish, or whether first appellate authority also sided with the PAO. And donon ko don chor nikla. So like that, you have to examine and decide to file second appeal. You have got plenty of time, that is 3 months time, 90 days time. After the receipt of first appellate authority's decision, within 90 days, next 90 days, you can file second appeal. But friends, unfortunately, most unfortunately, and most drawback of this RTI Act, despite being called a very sunshine act, despite being called a very proactive and very sanguine legislation to the people of this country, the worst drawback in this RTI Act is that there is no timeline for the second appellate authority, that is state commissions, to dispose of your second appeal. With the result, in Maharashtra, we are having now the pendency time. We are having 3 years. That means if I file any second appeal, after 3 years, I can forget 3 years. I can fully forget, sleep. Nothing repeat, nothing can move the second appellate authority to take up my appeal and this thing. So that is what the disposal of the request says. Section 7 also the same thing. This is what I think, again, they have given it in numbers, 30-day period. After that, clock stops. Then next 30 days, you can file first appeal, like that. Now this section 8. We need a separate session to deal with section 8. I'm sorry, I think I could not cover. I think I cannot, every time I say the same thing. Because whatever the section 4 says, give, Section 8 says don't give. I'll tell you briefly what are those matters. Don't give. Not this PM Cares Fund matter or not this PM National Relief Fund matters, etc. The information or disclosure of which would prejudicially affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security and strategic and scientific and economic interests of the state, relation with the foreign state, or lead to incitement of an offense, that is communal riots. That kind of information cannot be disclosed by the public authority. We cannot ask and they cannot reveal. Under Section 8, they will quote Section 8, it cannot be revealed and there is no appeal. But only thing is, I tell you, Section 81J is a very far-reaching and wide encompassing section. It says anything relates to personal information, disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest, which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual unless the Central Public Information Officer. We have read in Section 4 that personal details like rank, designation, contact particulars, salary, allowances paid to the particular official, whatever may be the rank, have to be disclosed, have to be displayed. Why disclosed? Not on disclosed on asking nahi, have to be displayed for all the times to come. That is what Section 4 says. But this Section 81J is contradictory. Many of the PAOs have taken exception and quoting this Section 81J. No, that is personal information. What? Pay particulars, pay and allowances, personal contact particulars, rank, designation, and their place of posting, everything is branded as personal information. According to some Supreme Court judgment, they quote some Puttaswamy, some Girish Deshpande, something blah, blah, blah. And they are hiding under this Supreme Court judgment and they are dismissing the RTA appeals also by quoting this section. But what Supreme Court and whereas every public authority ignores, or rather intentionally ignores, or rather pretends to be unaware is this rider. Please note, please read, there is a whole lot of literature, voluminous literature. I can send you any amount of literature authored by Shailesh Gandhi and gathered by Shailesh Gandhi and compiled. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi himself had to face this ignominy of denial of this information, despite this clause. What this clause says? Overriding clause, that's what we call. Provided that the information which cannot be denied to the parliament or a state legislature shall not be denied to any person. Say, supposing if a public authority says, no, this cannot be denied, this cannot be disclosed to you because it amounts to personal information and it has nothing to do with public activity or public interest. So, and then also it causes unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the employee. They quote this and then get away. And then they also quote Supreme Court judgment. But what unfortunately Supreme Court judgment or this public authority ignored is this one. So what we have been doing nowadays in every denial is when we file first appellate authority, sir, the 81J doesn't only mention personal information or invasion of privacy. It also has got a super overriding rider, which says that if the information is such a sacred thing, is such a holy cow, that it cannot be, unless it cannot be shared with parliament or state legislature, then only it cannot be shared with the citizen. You have not said that. You only quoted the above one as per your convenience, and you have omitted this. This is also there, sir. So we request the first appellate authority to direct the PIOs to give us in writing that the information denied to us will also be denied to parliament, will also be denied to state legislature. Let him give it in writing. Under which authority he has been directed not to disclose even to parliament, not to disclose even to state legislature, let him give us in writing. So they will keep quiet. They say नहीं वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट के मुताबिक है, वो ये इसका नहीं चलेगा, वो चलेगा, because it is convenient to them. So what the resultant this thing is, we have to go in appeal to second appeal, and there that's all. It gets buried in the time lag. So friends, what I'm saying is, most unfortunate aspect is one thing to have a law, and to see it enforced is altogether a different thing. So we need numbers. We need unity of action, unity of thought, and unity of action, which is unfortunately missing in this country. Whereas the evil is united, either in the state government or in the central government. The good is not united. The good is divided, the good is scattered, and the good is not a law student. For that matter, law, you may be knowing, Mr. Sailesh Gandhi is also not a law student. By practice, he has become a pundit. He has become a scholar. He has become an activist. He has become a thoroughbred in the RTA. That's how he could shine even as information commissioner. And he set a kind of Guinness Book of World Records while as information commissioner, by disposing of maximum number of appeals, which so far till then no information commissioner could do. He spent out of his pocket to create infrastructure for himself, to digitize all this thing, everything. The moment he received application, appeal, he is computerized. All with the dates and when was this thing, what all the documents, etc. Then he goes, he studies before calling the appellant for hearing. Then dispose. So like that, he used to, every month he used to dispose of 20,000 applications. Imagine this thing. So no pendency. Insofar as his bench is concerned, no pendency. All 5 years he disposed of maximum work. And only thereafter, one Madabushi Sridhar Iyengar of Nalsar, Hyderabad, he only could come up to his level. No other information commissioner did that much voluminous work. So tell me, ask me anything.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, what if the PIO refused to give me the information on some point? What are the remedy available to us?
You see, just no PIO, for that matter, no public authority can just offhanded, no, I can't give you. I don't give you. I will not give you. He won't say like that. He has to quote under which reason, according to which reason, according to which provision of law that he denies this information, that he refused to share that information. So the particularly all the public authorities have got a rescue, a shade under Section 8. So one of the provisions of this Section 8, they have to quote: national security, sovereignty, foreign relations, defamation, or contempt of court, or the case is under investigation, or the legislature or parliament is yet to decide on this, yet to evolve a policy matter, So it is still under the consideration. Parliament has not decided, the legislature has not decided. Therefore, we cannot give you like that. They have to quote a relevant section in writing, not just mention the section name number. They have to recite in writing, including that last super rider, that is that information which cannot be denied to Parliament or legislature also cannot be denied to the citizen. That information they have to say, this is, since this information will also be denied to the Parliament, will also be denied to the state legislature, therefore it is now decided to deny the same to you. That is what they are not writing. So there we have to catch them. Right?
Thank you, sir. Sir, what if the information we receive from the PIO is not adequate, or we want some other adequate information regarding this? What I
Yeah.
asked.
Provided you have asked for it. You have asked for it, but the PIO has not given you, then you have to go in for first appeal. See, if the reply given by the PIO is not satisfactory, in the case that it is not complete, or that it is partly correct, partly incorrect, or it PIO has not at all replied, not bothered to reply. 30 days over, 35 days over, and you are not heard of anything from PIO. Then, in that case, you have to file first appeal. Either incomplete reply, incorrect reply, or no reply. You have to file first appeal.
Thank you.
Yes. Next.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Taha.
Please, please.
He asks, is there any upper limit to the number of RTI filed by an individual in a year?
That is most welcome. If you want to file, there is sky is the limit. That is what our lament is, my dear friend. Please join our ranks. Please keep on filing. Every day you can file 100 RTI application if you can file. 100, not less than 100. Then upper limit is you fix. You fix according to your capability.
So the question I had was, the RTI under Section 8, as we discussed, in itself is bringing out so many grounds which, where we cannot get adequate information from the government or no information from the government. So can we, criticize the act by saying that we have this right given to us in India only in letter and not given to us in spirit? So,
yeah.
So can we criticize the act in that manner, sir?
No, then see, the act is followed more in breach than in observance, than in practice. That is the pity. With any law in this country, any law is followed more in breach than in practice. That's why it begins with our flouting the law. Our breaking the law begins with our traffic observance, traffic rules. We are not stringent in applying the traffic rules, enforcing the traffic rules. So how can we expect to be so law-abiding, so sincere, so serious-minded when it comes to this thing? And there are more and more lawmakers themselves becoming lawbreakers. So that is the pity of it. So for each and everything, though, despite there is a provision, there is a clear-cut provision, without mentioning it, by hiding it, by omitting it, subtly, they are quoting all other convenient sections and getting away with it. So this is the unfortunate aspect of our law implementation. Yeah, next.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We have another question from Adarsh Gautam.
More and more.
He asks, is there any limit to the number of questions an applicant can raise in a single RTI?
Yeah, very good question. Yes, I missed it. You see, every state government has prescribed a certain word limit in the RTI applications, because earlier some very not with good intentions. Somebody with bad intentions must have filed RTI applications with all kinds of irrelevant questions. And they become very voluminous. So certainly, I think that provided the handle to Supreme Court to comment that it has displaced the work culture and work norms in the public authorities also. That's maybe the reason. So what happened after that? Subsequently, the government came up with a schedule, kind of limitation. In the state government of Maharashtra, in the state limits, any RT application, the wording, that is column number 3, the information that required from that column, in that column, you have to work out within 150 words. The word limit for you to ask any information is 150 words. In the case of central government, the word limit is 500. They are more generous, more liberal. So I do not know in Karnataka what may be the word limit, but around 150 to 200, not more than that, I think. Okay, that's you please bear in mind. And moreover, in Maharashtra government, that also prescribed in the state central also. The information should pertain to one department only. Say if you are asking, if you are raising the issue about farm laws, throughout, right from top to bottom, your queries in the column number 3, information required, should center around the farm laws and agriculture and pertaining to agriculture department only. You cannot ask what will be the say, for instance, about revenue, or say another scheme or another project or another department matter. You can't ask when is the bullet train going to be commissioned in the same breath. I say, when is the electrification going to be completed? Because those two are different departments. So one RTA application, one matter, one subject matter pertaining to one department. Bear in mind. Okay, next. Any other question? You have my mail ID given to Mr. Arjit. You can send any number of queries to me. I can answer. And also I will share Mr. Gandhi's authentic interpretation, which gives a commentary along with Bare Act, which all you have to go through. All you need to study and more so practice. My dear friends, this is not a detective novel. RTI Act is not a detective novel or a Tom and Jerry cartoon story, right? The more you practice, the more you become aware, the more you become effective, the more you become an instrument of public governance, good governance. You will be contributing indirectly to good governance by alerting the public authorities, look, that people are watching, that we cannot sleep. So like that, you will be creating impression. Fine.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful speech and session on our right to information, and also for
Okay.
clearing our queries.